shot, it was on the ground, smashed to bits. And so one of the things he said in talking about this work, he said that China has a long history of culture, but the problem is that if we really fetishize culture in general and specifically making urns and trying to be as good as the masters of the past, that it's actually it's a real constraint. And in fact, specifically he said, if we're not willing to change and destroy some of that past, then we actually can't move forward to the future. And so he's, as a conceptual contemporary artist, destroying the whole idea, like, well, if we're really good artists, that we have to try and make an urn like they made 500 years ago, and if we're really lucky, we'll approach that. He said, no, we can make new art. And so America doesn't have like hundreds of years of tradition with ceramic or anything else, really, because it's a comparatively new society. But what is a real constraint on art and ideas and thinking? Well, the U.S. Constitution. So I did learning the U.S. Constitution. So here is, we the people, and we the people in flames, and we the people in ashes. And why do I say that this is this constraint? Well, if we're honest, first of all, if you haven't read the U.S. Constitution, you should. It's actually a pretty boring document. It lays out, look, there are going to be 3 branches of government. There's, the president has to be this old. This is how the Congress is made up, et cetera, et cetera. Here's when voting happens. Here's what rights the states have, what rights the federal government has. But the essence of it is actually a document that is written by slave owners and friends of slave owners to define the political and legal structure for an economy a society whose economy is rooted in slavery. The conception of freedom that they talked about, because everybody talks about, this Constitution gives freedom. The conception of freedom, you get literally 4 paragraphs in, it's talking about slavery. The so-called founding fathers' conception of freedom was predicated upon the ownership of other human beings. And there's specifically 4 paragraphs in are giving disproportionate voting rights to those who own a particular type of property, human beings. And so it's an antiquated, outmoded idea of freedom. And if we're actually going to both make art but also make political transformation, we can't be doing it talking about let's go back to the Constitution or democracy, 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 freedom, democracy. We actually have to go beyond that. It's an outmoded idea. And so I look forward to the day when this Constitution is in the dustbin of history. And so the idea of this artwork is to get people to really engage how much freedom people would actually have if we weren't constrained by the U.S. Constitution. So this is a more recent project. And by the way, that project was done in 2011. This is not a photograph I've taken. This is a photograph from about 1968 in China, in Shandong province. And in 2011, 2012, I wanted to start doing work that addressed sort of the arc of communist revolution, starting with the Paris Commune, going to the Russian Revolution, and then going into the Chinese Revolution. And part of why I wanted to do this was that there was a time when a quarter of humanity was living in and trying to get to, living in socialist societies and trying to get humanity to a world without classes. And that the intellectual discourse about that era at this point in time is really flabby as hell. People, if I were to get up and tell you that Mao Zedong ate babies for breakfast, people would say, I didn't hear that, but yeah, that sounds right. It's just not true, but at this point it doesn't matter. So here was this profoundly liberatory 100-year experience and experiment, and people don't know that much about it. And what they know is based on lies and distortions. And so I wanted to engage this. And so one of the things that during the Chinese Revolution, this was during the Cultural Revolution. This is a picture of what are called big character posters. These are diazabao. And so there's all this writing all over the walls. And so, it's going up a couple stories high. And in large towns, but also small villages, people were writing their ideas about how to take society forward. And so one person might write, well, look, the society's kind of stuck. I'm working really hard. The guy next to me doesn't work so hard. And the problem is that he's paid the same as I am. So he's kind of lazy and he has no incentive to work. And what we need to do is have greater differences in pay. And that would get him to work. And so somebody else, instead of covering that up or tearing it down, right next to him said, well, actually, this is a revolution that's trying to eliminate classes. If we had greater differences in pay and that was the incentive, then we wouldn't actually do that. We'd be exacerbating classes. And what you need to do is struggle with the comrade and get him or her to sort of grasp what Mao Zedong says, and that's to grasp revolution and promote production. Then somebody else would put up back to them, well, actually, this revolution's really messed up because in the small town I'm from, the party secretary stole our ox and we can't plow our field. So it was a really wide-ranging debate throughout all of society about what direction society was going to take, whether it was going to continue to deepen and be a more socialist society, or whether it was going to become the society that it is today, which they have a so-called Communist Party in leadership, but it's really, if anybody pays any attention to China, it's a capitalist society. And so that's what was being struggled out during the Cultural Revolution. And so I made these paintings, and these paintings are about 3 by 4, 3 by 5 feet. They're acrylic over Xerox transfer, and I've highlighted anything in these paintings that's basically whited out is highlighting the importance of the exchange of ideas to revolutionary transformation. And so this is big character Shengang, and it really, even if you could read Chinese, you couldn't actually read what this says. It's opaqued out. I'm not so interested in what the polemics and the dialogues were, but that there was this tremendous effort at dialogue. This is Peking University, big character Peking University, 1966. And so, imagine what would happen to you at Bard if you decided, oh yeah, we need to have a wide-ranging dialogue. There's big questions up. There's all this racism that's up. And there's this, fascist running for president. There's this, maybe socialist running for president. Let's actually post up and we paste on the side of this building right now. I bet at a minimum you would have a conversation with some disciplinary committee, if not be arrested or being expelled. But in China, this was actually people really all over society really grappling with how do we move society forward. And it was really sort of something that I think is stimulating. If you're going to make radical or revolutionary transformation, it is about the exchange of ideas. So this project is really going at that. And here is this person putting this up like 3 people tall, and there's a whole crowd of onlookers. It's a little hard to see. The lights are kind of bright here, and the projector I think isn't projecting all that well. And this is even harder. But this is Agitprop Train 1919, and this is, in the background, this is a train, and then there's these concentric rings, and what's whited out is part of the train, and this is a Victrola. And so, again, this is highlighting communication. On the Agitprop train, the revolution the Russian Revolution occurred in a couple of cities, basically Petrograd and Moscow, but the most people lived in the countryside, and a lot of them wanted to know what's this revolution about. So the Revolutionary Bolshevik Party actually had these trains that would go around the countryside, and they would do a lot of things. They would bring contemporary culture. Daniel, don't panic, it's okay. It's just light on, it's okay, it's really not a problem. So this is, these agitprop trains they would do literacy work, they would actually bring films and sound recordings, which were pretty new at the time. They'd bring photography, and they would really actually bring sort of news of what the revolution was. And so there's a guy here that is playing this Victrola, so that's highlighted. And then this is sort of a movie reel and a projector, and on the side of these agitprop trains they had paintings. And so it was, in this particular case, it's a painting that shows like some evil capitalists beating down some really noble, great workers. It's a little bit, wooden or caricaturish, but imagine this is 1917, 1919, because this is actually shot from 1919. And this is a big revolution that's happened, and this train rolls into town with this beautiful painting on the side of it, and you gotta actually get to hear a gramophone. And also the third element of communication is you'll have your photograph taken, which, these people probably hadn't had their photograph taken before. They wanted to actually stage this photo op so that people would know what this revolution is about around the country and around the world.